What's up everybody, James Jackson here. I'm back again with another review. This time I'm going to be talking about the Meike 25mm T2.2 Cine lens for the Micro Four Thirds system. This is sort of going to be a little quick and dirty review because I have to send this lens off. I will explain at the end of the video, but let's sort of go into this and why I think this is probably one of the sort of best investments that you can have for the Micro Four Thirds system, particularly if you're shooting on something like the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera 4K. One of the things I love about this thing is it is definitely metal. It's definitely like sort of more, it has a very metal feel to it. It's definitely not fully metal, but it definitely feels like it could take a beating. And given the price points that this has, coming just under $300, that is such an incredible value to have. One of the other things I love about this lens is the Cine Gears. For those of you that may be a little bit unfamiliar with Cine lens, what makes them different for something like this, a photography still lens, is one of them is these Cine Gear lenses, which allows you to just non-clickable, able to just throw the focus. And what makes this better, especially for filmmaking, is the fact that the throw distance that you have to do to go from, you know, your foreground to your background is really, really long, which helps you when you're trying to sort of get your exposures correctly, which allows you to give a more accurate throw to your focus. The other thing is a declickable aperture. So these the aperture is declickable, and it's based on T-stops, not f-stops. There's a lot of debate about it, but for the most part, an f-stop is sort of more of an educated guess on the amount of light that is hitting your sensor. With T-stops, it's not an educated guess. If it says T2.2, you are getting T2.2 amount of light to hit the sensor, no matter if you are on a Micro Four Thirds lens, if you are on a Super 35 lens, or if you are on a full frame lens. The amount of light that hits the sensor is the same. Now the depth of field will not be the same. That will be where the difference is. But the accurate amount of light that actually hits the lens at a certain stop is going to be accurate across the board. So if you have multiple cameras, you will be able to sort of match the exposure a lot easier. Now, currently, Meike only has 2 of these lenses out right now. The first one is the 16mm, and then there's this one, the 25mm. I personally love the 25mm a little more, and that's the reason why I got that one, because it definitely gives you equivalence close to a 50mm, which is, to me, one of the focal lengths I really do like, because 50mm is basically almost the equivalent of the human eye. So there's a lot of shots you can sort of work with. 50 is a pretty standard focal length you should definitely have in your bag. If you're going to have one, it's definitely a 50mm, and that's what you get here. With the 16mm, it's more like a 32mm, which is sort of a weird focal length. Had I still had these Micro Four Thirds Cine lenses, I'd probably be waiting for like a 12mm, then a 45mm, a 50mm, 12mm, sort of give you the focal length that you would be looking for. And Meike is talking about releasing more of these in the upcoming future, so keep an eye out. And then talking about the image quality of the lens, it is amazingly sharp. It's a little bit softer once you open it fully up to T.2, but compared to the softness of, say, a Rokinon Cine lens, it's not nearly as soft as those lenses, and this is still probably more affordable than those lenses. This thing is, the image quality coming out of these lenses is gorgeous. The details you can get from these lenses putting on Micro Four Thirds is something that you can really compare and get about 90% of what the big boys can do. And that says a lot about a lens that only costs $300. Now, you probably heard me say a couple times that if I was still keeping this lens or keeping this lineup of lenses together, and unfortunately I am not, and that is simply because I have actually sold my Pocket 4K, and because it's my only Micro Four Thirds camera that I had, this lens is also going with the 4K, as well as my Olympus 12 to 100 millimeter lens. So I'm actually going to box these up and send them out to their new owner. I'm really sad to see this one go. This lens has been such a joy to shoot with, especially if you're shooting on Ronin S's and you got the follow focus. It works just like a charm, and it's sad to see it go. If you have a chance, this is definitely a lens I almost highly recommend you put in your arsenal, especially if you're going to have something like the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera 4K. This combination of this lens and this camera are dangerous, to say the least. But like I said, this is a quick and dirty review of that lens. They have to be boxed up and get ready to go. I gotta ship them out today. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like, leave a comment below, and if you are not subscribed to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you can stay up to date on all the content we are doing here and all the future contents going forward. But until next time, take care, everyone.